even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark
The sickest NHL podcast. Brought to you by TCS Customs and Logistics. Moving pieces, delivering peace of mind. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition and a free-for-all Friday here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how are you, my friend?
Excellent. Jimmy, how you doing?
Well, it couldn't be better after another classic in the Stanley Cup Final last night, a 5-4 overtime win for the Edmonton Oilers. First team to come back down 3-0 in the Stanley Cup Final ever, Pierre.
37 times they had a chance.
Right?
Now it's 37-1.
So history was made there, and Leon Draisaitl making history with his second overtime winner of the Stanley Cup Final as well. I don't know where to start, Pierre. I guess let's go to the first intermission, and I know you're taking notes all along there. What are your notes saying after one period of play about the Edmonton Oilers and what they need to do to get back into the game?
Well, we need a spark, so I'm going to pull a goalie. We need to be a lot better in terms of how we're going to attack the opposition because we only had like 6 shots. And I'm going to say of those 6, maybe 3 were scoring chances at best. So we need to be better. So I'm going to break up McDavid and Draisaitl. And the other thing, I'm going to get more offense in the defense. I'm going to get more aggressive, get my defense involved in the offense. So role reversal, they dominated the second period. Like they dominated the second period. Hey, Bobrovsky was outstanding. He was outstanding. Just like I thought Skinner. Hey, it could have been 6-0 after one period. Skinner was phenomenal.
Oh, I felt so much when it went south on him, Pierre, because in the first, 4 or 5 minutes, Florida had some grade A chances they weren't converting on. And then, Skinner was the reason for that.
Yeah.
And
so, I said to you yesterday, I said on a bunch of different shows, look, I'm tired of everybody blaming the players in Edmonton. Okay? It's time for the coach to step up and deliver. And I thought that's the best game Knobloch coached in this playoff.
Yeah.
At least in the Stanley Cup Final, it is. He did what he had to do. He knew he had to do something. He jolted his team. He pulled Skinner out. He put Pickard in. He knew that he needed to get better matchups on the road just because he was getting killed with Draisaitl and McDavid playing together. Does that. Decides to bench Evander Kane because Kane takes bad penalties. Smart move there. Decides to limit Troy Stetcher's minutes. 4 minutes and 18 seconds Stetcher played, so they went with 5D. That allowed more offense from the defense. Nurse played his best. That might have been the best game I've ever seen Darnell Nurse play.
Yeah, I agree.
Ever.
I agree.
So, the coach deserves some credit on this one. He did a good job, Knobloch, because I was so against what I was hearing from all the pundits about, oh, this guy's not doing this and this guy's not doing that and that guy's not. How about the coach isn't doing stuff? How about that?
And another thing too, and I don't like to see anyone get benched or get less playing time, but he basically said, I've had enough with Evander Kane taking these penalties. And
that's what we just said. He benched Kane. So yeah.
I think, Pierre, the other thing I want to ask you in terms of the goaltending poll, right? You've been on a bench. What is that like? Does the head coach consult with the assistants? Does he try to get a vibe amongst the bench? How does a head coach handle that dilemma when it's starting to come about?
Every coach is different.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Keenan just pulled guys whenever he wanted to. Scotty would ask, not always, but he didn't have to do it very much. Our teams were good. When I was with Scotty, our teams were good. So he didn't have to do it much. But most guys just do it by feel. Sometimes they'll ask. Or they'll meet after the period and say, hey, we're not getting enough saves. Let's get this guy out of here.
Now, he left the door open for Pickard to start heading into that game. Do you think he has obviously you weren't there and you're not going to know, but would it be common for a coach to tell a goalie he might be on a short leash, or does that kill a goalie mentally?
You don't say a word.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
You got the ball, man. Go run with it. You want to break his spirit before he goes in, you go do that. But you're going to find yourself in Pete DeBoer category.
Yeah.
Pete didn't make a lot of mistakes in his career, but he made one of the other, and it cost him his job.
Yeah.
It shows you how careful you got to be. I was asked this question yesterday at CBS about, are coaches concerned because they see what happened with DeBoer and Ottinger?
Right.
Not in this series.
I'm asking you all these questions right now, right?
Yeah, not in this series. Look, you're tied 2-2, or it was 2-1 at the time. if you want to pull Skinner, pull him, but don't pull him when you're in game 7 and, he's giving up 2 goals. Like, if you're going to pull him sooner. So he did. Pickard's playing. Hey, if you think Pickard's not playing game 5, then I don't think you've been watching. No. And I don't mean you.
Yeah, I know. You just in general, not with that. Yeah. And I know that he's playing coy with the media right now, but I mean, I'm with you.
You don't think okay, let's play this game. If he doesn't play Pickard tomorrow, how do you think that's going to go if Skinner gives up a bad goal?
Oh. He could be, well, I'm not going to go that far, but
so all I'm saying is Pickard's getting the ball tomorrow night.
Yeah. Pierre, player I want to ask you about, he scored last night, but he's had a very interesting series, and he's done some good things I didn't realize he had in him, and he's done some kind of weird things I think he should keep not with him, and that's Jake Wallman. And we saw, in the beginning of the series, some of the taunting stuff going on, and
he was taunting last night too.
Yeah,
he better be. I'll tell you one thing. Like, I never really have seen him fight.
Right.
I haven't. Doesn't mean he can't. But he's a college player. He played at Providence on their national championship team. But he better be tough, because I'm telling you,
he's where I want to go with you, Pierre.
He's asking for it.
Did I not pay close enough attention? Because I don't remember a lot of this when he's with San Jose or Detroit, or even going back.
No, I don't remember any of this stuff.
Where did this, is this just something he said, I'm going to be that guy? But he, like you said, he better be able to back it up if he's going to be that guy.
Well, Florida's got some guys that can do like AJ Greer can do it. We could have a little Hockey East battle, Providence versus BU, where AJ Greer played and Waldman played at Providence. But, and it could even be Montreal, Toronto. Waldman's from Ontario, Greer's from Montreal area. So do a little Montreal, Toronto if you want. But he better be tough, because Gadjevich can fight too.
Yeah.
So they got some guys that can, like Bennett's not afraid to fight. They got guys that can fight.
Right.
And I don't think Edmonton has as many. We saw that the other night in game 3.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you now. In terms of the good things, though, Pierre, what have you liked about the good side of his game?
Wallman?
Yeah.
He can handle minutes. He's physical. He can move the puck. He can shoot it. We saw that. That rolling puck that he shot, that thing was launched. That's hard to do when a puck's crooked like that. That's hard to shoot that like that. So there's a lot to like. It doesn't mean it's bad, because I don't know what's been said to him. But, all I'm saying is I've never seen the physical side of his game where he's got to stand up. But if he can do that, he's really good. But he's going to have to. I'm not saying it's going to happen in this series.
Yeah.
But next year.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just telling you, back in Edmonton. Yeah. That Edmonton, Florida thing next year in the regular season, I'm watching it. I don't care if they're both undefeated or whether they both have a bazillion losses. I'm watching it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Pierre, just getting back to the coaching, though, you talked about the matchups. He did that. What else have you liked about Knobloch? And I'll just go big picture in terms of the playoffs, how he's adjusted. I find last year, and maybe it was just being there the first time, as you've stressed so many times here on this podcast and other hits that you do, it's a whole new element when you're in the Stanley Cup Final. What have you noticed about how he's adjusted from last year to this year?
I haven't seen a lot in the final yet. It's just what I said yesterday. He had to do something. I
Right.
thought he was late to everything the first few games. Yesterday he wasn't. I thought yesterday was really spot on.
Mhm.
And it was really defined. I don't know what broadcast you were watching or what broadcast some of our fans are watching, but he did a good job breaking up McDavid and Draisaitl. He did a really good job sitting Stetcher down. He did a real good job pulling the goalie. He did a real good job making sure guys were stretching out the neutral zone on the long change periods, the second period, and also the first overtime. There were a lot of things you could see they did as a staff that were good, and he's the head of it, so he deserves the credit.
On the flip side, what could Maurice have done better, in your opinion?
Not a lot. His guys just weren't paying attention. I don't think he's telling them to sit in their heels and back up.
No.
So that's them. Look at the 3-0 lead. It's the first time that's ever happened in the history of the NHL. That's after the first period. That's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So do I think that'll happen again? No, it hadn't happened in the history of the league. So I don't think that's going to happen again for a while.
So the way this series is going, Pierre, has your feelings on it? And I know you don't make picks or anything. I'm not going to ask you to do that, but is it where it's at right now? Is it where you thought it would be right now when the series started?
No, I thought Florida could sweep them.
Wow.
I did.
Okay.
And so if you think about it, so Florida's got 2 wins, Edmonton's got 2 wins. Go back to game 1. Who should have really won? Even though Edmonton wins a game, I give you full marks. Edmonton won the game. That was Florida's game to win.
Yes.
You know it, I know it, and everybody knows it. Okay. Go to game 4 last night. 3-0 lead. 3-0 lead. It's never happened in the history of the league.
I know.
Like I truly, in my heart of hearts, thought Florida could sweep them. So now now Florida's not sweeping them. We know that.
Now
and they got a tiger by the tail.
Yeah.
Florida does. Edmonton's coming, man. They're coming hard.
I know, but I just heard you on with our good friend Mitch Melnick, and great job as always on there. And congratulations to Andy Bennett, our friend there, and a great career there. She's leaving there. And I think it was John Still who asked you, do you see Florida being overwhelmed at all, or with the way that it shifted like that? And you immediately said no. If there was ever and I loved what you said, Pierre, and just you can elaborate on here, but if there was ever a time for them to be overwhelmed, it was last year in game 7, and they didn't break there. So
that's what I said. Last year they had 3-0 lead.
Yeah, not in a game, series.
Yeah, but so they're not melting. Hey, go look at the Toronto series. They didn't listen. I'm still convinced if Stolarz plays that series, Florida doesn't win. But Stolarz doesn't play the series. Not a knock on Joseph Wall. Who knows? But I know one thing: Florida went into Toronto in game 5 and Pyle drove them, and Florida went into Toronto in game 7 and beat the bejesus out of them. So they're not going to be intimidated. No, they're not going to be intimidated.
Not them. If there's ever a team, and that's why I wouldn't be least surprised to see Florida come out and win in a shutout or something, or like it's a 2-0 or 3-0 game, or they come out and they just control game 5 completely, because that's just how good they are at bouncing back.
They're definitely a different team. They're different because they got a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
Barkov hasn't played an A game yet.
Nope.
He's clearly injured. The turnover on the Wallman goal is something. If he had 82 games in a season, he might do that once.
Mm-hmm.
He might, maybe not even ever. So there's something wrong. He's not 100%.
Kachuk has obviously been hurt, but
they can say whatever. Kachuk had 2 goals, but Kachuk's not 100%. No way.
No.
Look, that's not Edmonton's fault. Edmonton's doing what they have to do. Their guys in Edmonton. Look, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins was really good last night.
He's banged up as anything too.
He's really hurt.
Oh yeah.
So
do you see him, Pierre? There was highlights. I think it was practices. It was a practice before game 3, maybe, and he's trying to do face-offs, and he could, like, you're looking at it, and it looked like, I don't know what his injury is. I'm not going to speculate, but he was struggling to do a face-off, and then to come out and see him play the game he did last night was quite impressive. Yeah,
the face-offs are hard. That's the other thing. People don't talk. That's why I keep saying you got to send right step. Those guys get tired taking a lot of face-offs, and this is a quick turnaround. My thing is Edmonton played a short bench. They did.
That's where I was going to go next. And today.
And Florida played a bench. They played everybody. And they played all 6 defensemen. They played all 12 forwards. Now, they didn't have anybody play close to 30 minutes. Edmonton did.
Yeah.
Edmonton, McDavid played 30 minutes. You look at Nurse. Nurse is up to almost 30. Bouchard's almost 30.
Oh, Bouchard was over 30.
There you go. So they had a lot of guys over 30. A lot of guys around 30 minutes, and Florida not anywhere close to that. So
even Brent.
I know. I'm just telling you, like this. Yeah. People don't realize when they sat Stetcher out. Stetcher played 418. I know the number because I was watching the game. And I'm going, I got to check his ice time. He's not playing.
Yeah, something's up. Yeah,
418 he played. So that's a big. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see, but I think that's going to have a carryover effect. I do.
A good call by you, and also too, you don't have the 2 days. They took the 2 days instead in Florida, and now they just get a 1-day turnaround with the travel. And I know they travel in the Ritz. I get it, but they're still human. That's all. It's
that's a hard. First, it's time zone, it's temperature, it's humidity. Like there's a lot in this thing. Like again, I'm not making excuses for anybody, but I've done it. I did it for a long time. It's not easy. It's hard.
A lot that people don't see that go into it. Yeah. And, just talking about Florida as well, being fresh, I think you'd agree with me, Pierre. I don't think there's a team in the NHL that can roll 4 lines as good as that.
As good as Florida?
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
So now you're doing that arguably fresher than Edmonton. You have the ability to do that.
We'll see. I mean, if Kane comes in and can play a good game and doesn't get in trouble, that makes a difference. Podkolzin comes in, if he plays and stays out of the box, that makes a difference. Like, those guys are important players. I'm still waiting on Henrique. I thought Henrique played a lot of minutes, but he can influence a game more than what he's done. Janmark got caught on the goal that was a tying goal with time running out. I don't know if I'd have had him out there, but that, again, they were having a problem with McDavid on faceoffs and defensively. He was struggling. So,
all right, Pierre, before we get over to our Q&A today, a couple news items I want to run by you because we apologized yesterday. It was out of our control. The platform we use, StreamYard, was not working for a good 5 hours all over the world, so nothing we could do. But yesterday, that trade with Chris Kreider at Anaheim goes through. Just your reaction to that. I don't know what you're at liberty to say, but you gave me some in-depth behind the scenes look at it. Why do you think it's going to work for him there in Anaheim?
Well, first of all, he chose to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And he chose to go there, 1, because his agent's excellent, Matt Cater. 2, because Cater has Leo Carlsson there and also Alex Killorn there. Killorn chose to go there as well. 3, this is really important. He chose to go there because of Joel Quenneville.
That's where I wanted.
And he also knows Jacob Trouba from the Rangers, and he respects Killorn. So he knows the situation there really well. He trains with Zegras in the summer in Connecticut. There's a lot moving parts there that all those writers in New York haven't written about yet. So I'm just giving you the facts of it all.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot there that he chose. But the reason why he waived to go there is because of Joel Quenneville.
They're a young team. They do have some veterans. You mentioned Trouba there. What, in terms of veteran leadership, in terms of helping to guide those young guys and help them take the next step to, I think, their goal is clearly to make the playoffs finally. What does Chris Kreider bring?
Everything. Intelligence, kindness, intensity, accomplishment, trustworthiness. He's everything you want. You can and it's fair to do. You can question his hockey sense sometimes because sometimes it's very apparent he goes too fast and he doesn't process the game. And there are other times when you watch him post up on a power play in the slot, or you watch him, win a race in a shorthanded situation, he scores, where it looks like he has hockey sense. And there are other times 5-on-5, you're like, what the heck was he doing? But he's a really, like, as a person and as a player, there's a lot to like there.
In my opinion,
he's far from a perfect player.
Yep.
But there's a lot to like there.
Well, he's a gamer. That's what I like about him, especially if I've got a team.
Those guys, if any, and this is just, you might not agree with me. That's fine. I get it. None of those guys liked what was going on in New York.
No.
What happened last year in New York, we called it in the summer. As soon as it happened, I said to Jimmy, they're doomed.
Yeah.
They're doomed.
And then it happened again around Thanksgiving. Remember? When more stuff leaked out, and it was like, I said it to you, Pierre, last week when the Kreider stuff started to come out a bit. I said they better do this fast. Don't let it drag out again.
You 100% did that.
They don't need to go through that again. I think, and I'm not going to speculate on specific names, but I don't think he's the last veteran that's going to leave that team this summer. I think there's a couple more big changes coming. We'll see what happens.
Well, if they do that, how's Mike Sullivan pushing them forward? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Without Kreider, they're not nearly as good a team right now.
Yeah. It looks like, if you couple Trouba to Kreider, it looks like Drury's trying to reshape the core, the veteran core, And
so they're going to trade Lafreniere next. They're going to trade Keandre Miller. I mean, I don't know. Like, how's their team better? Who are they getting back for those guys that are better?
Well, do you think they're doing all this to pave the way to sign guys? And that's the plan. Like, they're just trying to clear space. But here's the risk, right? That's great and all. So you clear all that space, but what if the targets you're targeting with that space don't want to come?
So if you're Mitchell Marner, let's just use him as an example.
Mhm.
If you're Mitchell Marner and the Rangers load up an offer on you, and Vegas loads up an offer on you, and Florida Panthers load up an offer on you, I'm just giving you 3 choices. New York, Vegas, Florida. Who's first?
Florida,
Probably. Who's second?
Vegas,
Probably. Who's third?
New York.
That's a pretty risky bet by them if that's what they're targeting.
Now, before we get into the whole, and I don't know why it's turned into such a debate, the whole no tax thing, that is not why I said that. One of the main reasons I said that, I said Florida and then Vegas and then New York last, Pierre, because I think Mitch Marner wouldn't mind to be able to go to a winning type of atmosphere, but with a little less pressure and scrutiny than he's had. And that's not, I'm not knocking Mitch Marner as a person or as a player. I just think, hey, if I have the option to kind of take a 180 and be in a little less of a microscope, so to speak, and still win a cup, I think I might do it, you know, in terms of fit.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
You know?
Well, that's one player. You look at this free agency class, I wouldn't qualify it as super elite.
No, I think there's a big drop off.
The potential next year for free agency is much better than this year, but I don't know what the Rangers are going to do. I keep being told that they're really well run, so we'll see. I know one of the guys that helped orchestrate the rebuild is in Montreal. He's doing a pretty good job. And then the other guy that was in charge of it was in Columbus, and they're doing pretty well too. So I don't know.
Good segue there. Montreal, obviously a team that I think everyone is watching this off season. When you're approaching, if you're Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton and you're approaching this off season right now, you definitely want to make a move. You want to take that next step here. But how do you still maintain? Because I think you'd agree with me, this is still a path that they're on. They're not right there yet where they want to be. How do you do that? Like, how do you control your temptation, so to speak?
You identify your biggest organizational need, second line center. So focus on that and then work on the rest.
Okay.
Control what you should be able to control. You know what the asset price is, or what you want to create the asset price on a second line center that can make your team better. So figure it out. Don't go overreaching. Don't, like last year, Edmonton could win the cup this year. They could win the cup.
Yep.
But I still think they'd rather have Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg and Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner.
Yep. I'm with you on that. Credit to Jeff Skinner, though. He is really
he played well last night in limited minutes. He did. Yep. I give the kid full marks. He's not a kid. He's a grown man, but I give him a lot of credit. But no, there's an example. They overshot. Don't do that. Just focus on what you need.
Would you agree with me that we were talking about the Rangers there? You mentioned a player that might be on the block in Lafreniere. Would he be a good fit in Montreal right now?
I don't know why he wouldn't. So just think about it. But think about it. You're gonna have to trade something to get him.
Oh yeah.
So you get him, and you've got here your top 4 wingers: Cole Caulfield, Alexis Lafreniere, Demidov, and Slavkovsky.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Then Josh Anderson and Brendan Gallagher are your 5-6 guys on the wing. Emil Heineman is probably your 7. And then you don't know what you're going to do deeper in the lineup.
Yep. And you're
pretty good.
Yeah. Still
like that Jared Davidson. I'm dying to see what he does in training camp this year. I think
you're high on him. Yeah.
I think he's going to battle for a spot.
He's a workaholic from what it seems like.
Yeah, so he's going to battle for a spot. That's good. I'm really encouraged by where Montreal is right now.
Yeah.
But if you're saying to me, well, we want to get Lafreniere, I can tell you right now, Rangers aren't doing anything without getting a defenseman back. No chance. No chance.
You said it's going to cost you. I had 3 defenseman names go right through my head. Right then. Like right when you said that, I'm like, it's got to be a D-man for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a good D-man.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. All right, let's get over to our sponsor. And unfortunately, Pierre, we were not able to do our Betway sick pick of the night last night. And I know there's no game tonight, but there is one tomorrow. We won't be on tomorrow, obviously. So I will give some sick picks here. But let's tell you a little bit about Betway, where you can go all the way with Betway still. And if you're a new member, you can get up to $200 back on your first bet. You can go right there to the QR code in front of you to sign up and redeem your offer, or go to the details section on the website to do the same. Remember, this is only for new customers. It is not available in Ontario. Terms and conditions apply. You must be 18 plus and always bet responsibly. Let's go to our sick pick of the night, one night early.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by Betway.
All right, I think the Oilers continue and seize back the lead in this series in Game 5. I like them on the money line. Still think it's going to be a very tight game. Could even see overtime again. Why not? But I like them on the money line. They're at minus 125 value. In terms of goal props, I'll give you one from each team. From the Oilers, I'm liking Kapanen. He's at plus 650. He's getting some good time with Draisaitl all the times there, so you never know. And then on the Florida side, I like Seth Jones to find the back. I don't know, just a gut feeling. And he's at great value, plus 750 right now for an anytime goal by Seth Jones. Let's get to our Q&A here on the eye test. What do we got? Mike, Pierre, how does a goalie handle what Skinner went through last night, getting pulled, not his fault, in parentheses, and seeing his team react and get that win? I'm sure it's tough mentally.
It is, but if one of the money shots of the night was right after the win, the first guy to get to Calvin Pickard, Stuart Skinner. It was awesome.
That was great.
It was so good. That reminded me a lot of TJ Oshie, who just retired in Washington after the 2014 shootout in Russia. He didn't go to his teammates. He went right to Jonathan Quick.
Yeah.
I was there. I was 10 feet away from it. It was unbelievable. And I saw Skinner do that last night. I was like, what a good teammate. What a great guy. If I were scouting that, I know he hasn't played up to where everybody expects him to, but that would go on the check mark in a positive because of the teammate that he is. That was awesome to witness. Really good.
Great catch. All right, next question. What do we got? Juice _031017. When top players don't perform in the Stanley Cup Final, do you think a lot of that has to do with injuries? Juice, at this time of the year, yeah, I would agree with that. And I think Pierre would as well.
Big part of it.
Yep, for sure. All right, next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy and Pierre, does Marner get $14 million a year? I think he does. Pierre, you don't?
I wouldn't give it to him.
Right.
Doesn't mean he won't get it. All it takes is one team.
Yeah, I agree with your philosophy. I'm not giving them that if I'm a GM, but I think there's going to be one GM out there that does it. I do too. Yeah.
But you're asking me, I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't either.
You know, I mean, I've been in some pretty good negotiations, pretty intense ones. And at some point you just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As much as I think the world of your player, we're not paying them.
You don't have to bring up names, but let's say you get to that point in a negotiation and you drew a line and you did what you just said. No, that's as far as we're going to go. Sorry. We respect you. That's it. What's been the longest gap of time when you've reached that point before the other side got back to you? Like, are we talking weeks or is it days? How does that go down? I imagine different for every situation.
Every situation a little different, but here, I'll give you a good one. One guy is trying to be a bully in negotiation. I always try to be nice. So I said, hey, we're clearly not making any headway. So can you give me a list of the 5 teams that your player wants to go to? I know that I don't have to respect it or represent it, but I like your player a lot. So do you want to call him or do you want me? I remember I said, do you want to call him or do you want me to call him and ask him for the list? Because I expect it tomorrow. We got the deal done. Nice.
All right, next question. Peterman Dockeros. Hey, Pierre, heard you on Tony's show the other day saying a good partner for Lane Hudson is in the West. Is Michael Kesselring a fit?
Michael Kesselring would be a great partner for him. but I don't think Utah's moving him.
No.
He was a really good player at Northeastern. He just played on the U.S. team that won gold at the World Championship, kid that played at New Hampton Prep. He would be a good partner, but I'd be surprised if they were going to ever move him.
All right. Next
Not
question.
at this point, anyways.
A to Z me. Crosby to Montreal? Question mark. What would it cost the Habs, in your opinion? I haven't heard anybody ask about Crosby to Montreal in a few weeks, but
no,
we're going to hear it more now.
The funniest thing is Pittsburgh knows that Montreal wants him. The fans want him.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to drive a bargain like you can't believe.
Oh, yeah.
But, they're not trading Sid anywhere he doesn't want to go. And who says right now Sidney doesn't want to go anywhere?
Yeah.
But if it gets to that point, he says, hey, by the way, I'm not having any fun here. You guys are in a total rebuild. I got 2 or 3 years left in my career. I want to go win.
Mm-hmm.
There's no guarantee Montreal's one of those spots.
No. But it's going to be interesting if it does get to that point. All right, next question. Tony, curious to hear your opinions on going after Lafreniere, taking on Zibanejad's contract to lower the costs. Could that be a stopgap to let Hage develop?
Oh, Hage isn't ready to play in the NHL. Hage needs development time at Michigan. Then he's going to need time, I think, obviously in the American League. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, that'd be good. But I don't know what the Rangers – I don't know what they're doing with Zibanejad. I have no idea. All I know is what I read in the New York Post.
Next question. John Palmieri, there are a litany of reasons why Lafreniere has been unable to take the next step, but why has his game changed so much? He used to be such a constant physical force. It just isn't there most nights.
I have John, you're saying that there's a litany of reasons. What are they? Send them to Jimmy.
Yeah.
I don't know why there's a litany of reasons. I've had the honor of coaching a lot of really good young players. He was a number 1 overall pick in what was a really good draft, the 2020 draft. I don't know why it hasn't panned out for him, but I can tell you one thing. I thought he was going to be a lot like Jerome McGinley. I mean that. Mm-hmm. That's what I thought the player was going to be. Maybe a little smoother. Jerome was pretty choppy for a while, but Jerome was a hell of a player. That's what I thought he would be.
Pierre, when you used to scout, and you probably still do it now because you just love scouting anyhow, but when you used to scout for teams, did you used to keep a list of players like Lafreniere who you kind of couldn't figure out, why is this guy's game gone south, or what's distracting him? He's got so much potential, but he's fallen down the depth chart with that team. Did you keep a list of players like that to maybe circle back on?
All the time.
Yeah.
Really important to do it always.
Mm-hmm.
You almost track guys. Okay, why did he get traded in junior? Why did he go on the transfer portal? You look at that. Sometimes it's just the coaches, or whatever situation didn't want the player.
Right.
Find out why the coach didn't want the player. You don't ask the player that. You don't ask the coach that. You ask other people that are around him.
Right.
But I used to keep lists on that all the time. I think that's a great question.
Yeah. All right, next question. Juice again. How much momentum is it for the Oilers going back home after coming back and winning the game last night? That's a funny. I was on a podcast earlier and we were just kind of talking about momentum game to game in the playoffs, and does it carry? I would think it has to carry, but as we were saying earlier, there's one team that, in terms of negative momentum, that can move past it right away. It's the Panthers. So,
hey, it might, in your opinion, it might carry, but it carries to the drop of the puck. Because if the other team scores a first goal, all that momentum gets flushed. Or you have all the momentum and then you take a bad penalty. Or your goalie gives up a bad goal from a bad angle. Or one of your star players get ramrodded through the boards. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big fan of that momentum stuff.
So then this is a question, Pierre, that I've always been trying to figure out. And you've been in situations like this. We've talked about the Washington series with Pittsburgh. When you're down 3-1 or you're down 3-0, and you start mounting that comeback, like we saw with Edmonton last year.
Yep.
So you're saying you don't think momentum carries in that situation game to game? When you're staging a comeback like that, like you're not building off it?
No. What you're doing is internally you keep selling your program. Here's what we're doing right. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep doing that. Matchups are working. We're going to keep building off those matchups.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't say, oh, yeah, we won game 4, so game 5 is going to be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
Never once. Don't. You let your guard down. Never
Mm-hmm.
do that. That's what I think happened to Florida last night. 3-0, momentum, home ice. We got these guys right where we want them. See you later, alligator. Wrong philosophy.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Juice, if Nick Suzuki was up for a contract this year with the AAV, would the AAV look something like $10 million a year?
Close.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
Close.
Just the way things are going right now. And by the way,
so what you do is Stutzla would be a comparable on that one. What Bennett's getting would be a comparable on that one. Or gonna get. So you got to come up with comparables that are realistic. What's Aho? Where's Aho?
Mm-hmm.
You got to look at where Aho is. And then you negotiate off those comparables if you can't. So the agent's going to come at you with crazy ones.
Right.
Yeah. There was one they kept saying, he's a unicorn. He's a unicorn. I go, wait a second. There's 2 players that have better stats than him, and they're younger. How's he a unicorn? Go slow down. So anyways, it's all part of that's why you got to study the league every day. Like
you got to know every player.
Stop being a fan. It's just it's different. It's different because you got to equate numbers on players, and you can't be a fan about it. You got to be realistic about it.
Yep. And by the way, finisher. Yes, my Mountain Dew is great. All right, next question. Steve Lash, Pierre, are you still doing your homework on the draft? I keep seeing mock drafts that people see Justin Charbonneau as a good fit for the Canadiens, assuming they keep their picks. Why is that?
Mais oui, parce qu'il parle en français. C'est une chose qui est très importante pour les autres. But there's other reasons why, too. He's a really talented kid. I am doing a lot of prep for the draft. We're supposed to go. I will not kid you. I'm doing my Hockey Hall of Fame speeches or presentations right now. So Jimmy knows I go very in depth on those. So between watching games, doing that, and studying for the draft, I'm pretty busy.
Yeah, just a little. Pierre doesn't really sleep. He's a freak of nature, but God bless him. Next question. And I mean that in a complimentary way.
I know.
Jacob Perez, Pierre, any chance Trocheck could be available for Montreal on a trade?
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Mike Sullivan.
Good idea, though, Jacob.
Pardon me?
I said it's still a good thought, though.
Very good. I mean, if they're going to do something with Zibanejad, I just don't know. I'd be really surprised if they did anything with Vinny. I'd be really surprised, but I don't know. The one thing I'd say is, Rangers are making a lot of moves. Who are they getting? Their farm team missed the playoffs. Who's coming up in a hurry that's going to make a difference?
Well, this is going back to what I said earlier, Pierre. I just get the vibe that they've got some big name targets and big targets on a free agent market. Maybe.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Pull up the free agency list.
Yeah.
Just pull it up now.
Okay. I want to say
this is an exercise for the fans.
Yep.
Okay.
1 second. Let's go to free agents. All right.
Okay. Read the forwards.
I'm just going to start with what they got listed on the top.
Yeah, just read the forwards.
UFAs: John Tavares, Mitch Marner, Jamie Benn, Brock Besser, Claude Giroux. 1 sec, I have to expand the list. Patrick Kane, Ryan Donato, Nikolai Ehlers, Mikael Granlund, Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, Pius Suter, Dadonov, Riley Smith, Jack Roslovic, Jonathan Drouin, Andrei Kuzmenko.
A lot of those guys have already played for the Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see my point, that I'll never disparage those players because I respect every one of those guys. They played hard to get to unrestricted free agency status.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that. But if you think that all those guys are going to – any of those guys are coming in and all of a sudden making the Rangers better, I don't think so.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And, also, what if you don't get those guys? Like you said, then what's plan B? Let's say he's got a nice target list, right? But if, they're not all going to pan out. You don't know that. What is plan B? I'm with Pierre, too. When you look at their system, what do they have coming? So I wonder if he's looking more at the trade market, Pierre.
He is, but like I said, trading guys coming off of bad years isn't a good way to help your team.
No. And other teams are going to know that as well. Yeah. So, all right.
We'll see.
Yep. They're going to be an interesting team for sure. Next question. Sound the siren. What's up, buddy? All the momentum in the West, Anaheim, San Jose, Utah. Is Ronnie Francis prepped to keep Seattle in the mix? I want that market to succeed. I do too, Sound the siren.
Yeah, Ronnie's the president of hockey operations. Jason Bottrell's just been named general manager. That's going to be an interesting one to monitor too.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new coach, obviously, in Lane Lambert. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Very interesting to see what happens in Seattle.
Yeah, what's their cap space at too? Well, they got a lot of space.
They should have plenty of space.
Yeah. All right, next question. Juice again. Pierre, do you ever miss calling games at the World Juniors? And what was the most memorable tournament you ever called?
Miss it every time Christmas comes around. I love doing that tournament. That was just such a delight. The crew, the professionalism, the crew at TSN was off the charts. And it was usually the same people. I did 9 of them. So we all had 9 Christmases in different parts of the world. It was really cool. The best World Junior, I would say, there were a lot of them. The best team was 05, not even close. Probably the best gold medal game was Canada-Sweden in Cheska or in Pardubice. That would have been in 2008. Probably the most energetic crowd would have been Ottawa 09. Ottawa 09 was phenomenal, especially New Year's Eve when John Tavares and Jordan Eberle manufactured these amazing moments with Ryan Ellis to come from behind to win in different games. So the 09 was good. The best team, though, it's not even close. The best team is the 05 team.
Yeah.
And that's because most of those players should have been playing in the NHL. But there was no NHL that year.
And I want to say this, Pierre, and I'm not just saying this because you're my friend and teammate. But Pierre was part of what, in my, your crew and what you guys did helped make it what it is in the States now. Obviously, USA Hockey has to help that. I get that. Yeah. But in terms of presentation and broadcast and just promoting that tournament, you guys were amazing. I mean, I just remember in the early days there, because you agree with me, Pierre. I feel like up until 03, 04, I don't know if I'm in the right ballpark there, it wasn't must-see TV.
No, the numbers. So where it really took off was 03 in Halifax. The 03 Halifax took off. So the Americans had players like Zach Parise and Christopher Higgins and Ryan Suter. The Canadians had a team that shouldn't have got to the goal, but they did. They found a way, and the guy that got him there was Marc-Andre Fleury. You look at it, the Russians had a 16-year-old kid named Alexander Ovechkin that was just a savage 16-year-old barbarian. Unbelievable. And they won the gold. So there was a lot there. I mean, every tournament takes on a different – the Canadians never should have lost 04, but it's the first time the Americans ever won. And Mike Eaves, Patrick Eaves' father, Mike, he and John Hines coached the American team, and they did an amazing job. Really good job. Al Montoya was in goal for USA. He was outstanding.
Whatever happened to him, Pierre?
He's doing a lot of stuff, I think, for USA Hockey, and I could be wrong. I think he's doing a lot of work in Dallas with the Stars.
Okay.
I think he is. Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
I could be wrong, but I think he's
Yeah.
done some work down
I
there.
always liked interviewing him. All right, next question. Juice again, assuming his play at 5-on-5 is better next season, what's a realistic goal total for Patrick Laine next in a contract year?
I don't know, Joseph. I don't know what's going to happen with Patrick Laine.
Mm.
I honestly don't know.
Yep.
Realistically, if it's 5-on-5 plays better and he doesn't get hurt, 35, 40 goals.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's going to – honestly, I don't know. I mean, I know he's staying in Montreal this summer, which I think is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I have no idea.
Okay, next question. Randy Workman, Jimmy and Pierre, do you think Lafreniere can be a 70-point player on another roster? Yes.
I do. I
do.
definitely do.
Yep. All right, next question. Randy Workman again, Jimmy and Pierre, how does a team determine if a player is a bust? Is there a certain characteristic that determines that?
Yeah, I think I have an idea, but go ahead.
Well, Pierre, I'm not going to begin to say that. I haven't been in that position to judge that.
Yeah, guys that aren't – so let's just say you take a player in the first round, and let's say you've given them 4 years, and every year it just started here and it goes here, and then it goes there, and then it goes there. Then you bring him in, you say, okay, what is going wrong? Like, is it us? Is it you? Like, what's happening? And if he doesn't have an answer for you, you got a problem. But a lot of times for those guys that don't make it, they got overrated because they dominated as big, strong, physical guys against weaker players, or they were older and they just took off and destroyed people. Like there's so much that goes into that. But I coached a player that Montreal gave up on, Andrew Castles. I can tell you right now, Cass had 80-point plus seasons playing for our teams. And I would never give up on him. I thought the world of that kid. I only had one problem with him one time, and it got fixed real fast. I just always really liked him. He was, of all the players, and I coached college and pro and all that stuff, he's one of my favorites. And I mean, talked to him in 20-plus years. One of my favorites, just because I saw that Montreal gave up on him, and I wouldn't do that. And he ended up, like, could you imagine? He had, like, big point years. One year, I think he had 86 points playing for me.
Yep.
No, I like guys that people give up on because if they want to work, they could be good.
Yep. All right. Next question. Mike Pierre, you being a Stanley Cup winning coach, did you and the team ever have the we have them beat feeling before the game started, especially a playoff series? If so, do you have an example of when?
Yeah, I would say yes. The Rangers in 1992, we were down. Mario's hand got broken by Adam Graves. Graves slashed him in game 2, and we lost game 2, and we lost game 3 at home. And Ronnie Francis in game 4 scored from center ice. And we eventually won that game and won the rest of the games to win the series. And we knew after Ronnie scored from center ice, they were broken. And we did, like, we all knew. It wasn't even hard. We won 3 there, 4 straight against Boston, and 4 straight against Chicago. 11 straight to win the cup.
That's
so after that, after Ronnie did that goal, we knew.
Yeah. That 91 conference final against the Bruins too, Pierre. I don't know about you, but as a Bruins fan, when you guys won game 4 and tied it, I knew then. I just remember looking at my grandfather and saying, they're screwed. They're done. Look at Pittsburgh right now. It's just they're on a mission now, and that was that. You know, you could just tell you had broken them.
Yeah, well, that whole
thing, obviously Cam Neely's injury hurt a lot. People are always going to point that out, but it was bigger than that. It was.
Joey Mullen and Kevin Stevens turned that whole series around. Just telling you.
Yeah.
Had nothing to do about on the ice either.
Oh, it was in the locker room. I remember you telling the story.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Jacob Perez again. With the Kreider trade done, is there any hope that at offer sheeting Coyle is effectively dead?
Cooley. And there'll be no offer sheet. He'll get signed by the Rangers.
That's one everybody keeps bringing up. I'm with Pierre. All right, next question. John Palmieri, Pierre, being that the NHL is a copycat league, are all the teams trying to build teams the same way, up the middle, big mobile D on the back end? I don't think you build a team via goalie like the Rangers.
Well, it can be a good starting point, though. Having a good goalie helps because you look at. I'll just use Brodeur as an example. In the 1990 draft, Jimmy, look it up for me, please. Marty Brodeur went 20th overall. I'm 99.999% sure he went 20th overall. 1990 draft in Vancouver.
You are right on the money, right before.
Okay, don't tell me. Trevor Kidd, I think, went at 13 or 11.
11.
Where did he go? 11?
Calgary, yep.
So Kidd went at 11 to Calgary. Brodeur was the next goalie at 20. This is just the point about the goalie. Trevor Kidd was an amazing junior goalie. One night I saw him, he was playing for Brandon. I saw him play in Moose Jaw. I think he made 68 saves and the team still lost. But it was unbelievable how good he was. It was crazy. But I saw Brodeur from the time he was 16 years old. And I remember saying to our guys, why don't we try to get an extra pick in the first round? We can get Brodeur. And some of our guys didn't even have Brodeur rated. They didn't have him rated. Well, no, but look at Calgary could have taken Brodeur at 11.
Yeah.
Look at all the teams. That's 9 picks. So my point is, if you get the right guy, like the 03 draft, the 03 draft's the best draft we've ever had.
Yep.
The goalie went first, Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
So if you get the right goalie, you can build around him. But you got to get the right guy.
But I agree, though. Building up the middle is huge for sure.
It's gigantic. It's gigantic.
Next question. Bert L. Which position group is the hardest consistently to scout and project success for? Any positions you guys feel are most accurately scouted? Pierre, I've never been a pro scout, but I would think the position we just discussed, I think goalies are very hard. I mean, you just never know.
I think goalie's the hardest one.
Right?
I think goalie's the hardest one to scout.
Yeah.
I think the ones you can tell are the big, physical, mobile defensemen because you can't teach the size.
Right.
You know, so go back to my era. A guy like Ken Danico, you knew he couldn't miss. A guy like Scott Stevens, you knew he couldn't miss. You know, Sean Chambers, you knew he couldn't miss. Like all those big, mobile, physical defensemen, Darian Hatcher, Kevin Hatcher, all those guys, Stefan Quintal, you know, big, physical, mobile D, those are the easiest guys to scout. Doesn't mean they're going to be like Pronger.
Right.
Like, Pronger was unique. Brian Burke nailed that one. Like, I'm telling you, dude, I will never forget that. He nailed that thing. Like, he's like, we're not taking anybody else. We're trading our whole roster. We're getting this guy. Like, he was crazy. I loved it, though. Berkey was great. He was so good.
Randy's pointing out, too, don't forget the kid was a hometown hero there.
Oh, don't worry, Randy. I know where all the bodies are buried.
All right, next question. Ethan Russell, what's up, Ethan? Could you see Ekblad in Carolina as a good fit? Hard to see him sign with an Eastern Conference rival, though.
Yeah, no, I could see him being a great fit. Remember, Brady Shea's in Nashville. Brett Pesce, excuse me, is in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So could I see him? Yeah, I could see him being a fit there, no question. But I could see other teams really hard on him, trying to get him. I could see. I don't think there'll be a shortage of suitors if he goes to free agency.
All right, next question. Bert L. Pierre and Jimmy, can you think of any Stanley Cup finalists from the last 20 years you'd like to see face the current Florida Panthers in a hypothetical matchup? Any teams you think could match up? Pierre, 2 teams automatically come to my mind would be the 11 Bruins and then I guess sort of like a hybrid of the 12 and 14 Kings.
So I'm going to say the 11 Bruins. I'm going to say the 12 Kings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the 19 Blues.
I knew you were going to go there. That's when
19 Blues.
Yep.
20 years. So it takes me back to 05.
I know. We're not even like out of the decade.
I'm going to say, because I think they do a number on them, I'm going to say the 08 Red Wings.
I wouldn't mind the 07 Ducks.
The 08, they were a little small though, Jimmy. Like they had some smaller guys in the wings. But I tell you what, like that the 08 wings were really good. They were really good. They had a lot of everything. They were good. Like, I'd like to see. Okay, so I you know that I like the Kachucks and I like Matthew, and I know a lot of fans don't. But I'd like to see Darren McCarty versus Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh, wow. That would be fun.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be an interesting matchup for sure. All right. That is all we have, I think. Yep. That's all we got right now for questions. We appreciate all your questions there. Always a pleasure. Thanks everyone for a great week. We apologize again about yesterday, but we're back and rolling right now, and we will be back Monday with the aforementioned agent Matt Kreider joining us, Pierre, here on the Eye Test. Looking forward to that. And then Tuesday, we will have Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly joining us since he didn't get to join us yesterday. So everyone out there, have a great weekend. Thanks to Shane, by the way, working the boards up there. Pierre, you enjoy the weekend, enjoy the hockey. And the Eye Test will be back on Monday here on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.